Artist Petra here. Hey, welcome everybody. We're having a fantastic time. We're doing figures this week. Figures are a great way to add excitement to your watercolor paintings, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to just cover the real basic essentials of doing some really beautiful figures in your watercolor paintings. And the first step to that is just doing some fun compositional paintings of figures on their own, maybe 3, 4, 5 times, just like this here. In this picture you'll see this is the finished painting we did of our figures. If we do these 3, 4, 5 times before we do a painting, and then we go in and do our painting, we're going to have a great result because we're going to practice all the fundamentals of our figure painting. These are two figures. They're conjoined together, side by side. This is preferable to painting one figure by itself, which tends to look cut out and pasted. We'll cover that in this video. So stay tuned, stick with us here, follow this video all the way to the end. You'll see all the steps, all the methods covered, A to Z, on how to create some beautiful figure work in your paintings, your watercolor paintings. These can be large in your painting, or you can make these small and diminished in size, in the distance in your paintings. Doesn't matter, however confident you feel in your figure painting. But the main thing is you practice this 3 or 4 different times and you'll get the hang of it, of how to get some nice colors, some light and shadow, practicing blending your figures together, and you'll have it. So stay tuned. Glad you joined along here. I appreciate that. Everyone that subscribes and everyone that comes along every week here on my channel, I appreciate you very much. And so we'll get started in just a second. This is the finished painting. I'll remove this here and maybe we'll zoom in just a little more. You can work right from this painting right here. So you can do a screen capture or just hit pause and work from this. And I'll just make sure that we are zoomed and focused in correctly. Let's do this here. I just want to make sure I'm okay. That looks good. So we're focused correctly. There we have it. Okay. We'll start in just a second with our drawing, pencil drawing, and then we'll get right into the painting portion, and we'll cover all the steps you need to know how to get a beautiful composition started like this. Practice this, 4 or 5 times, and then you're ready to go in and put these figure paintings into your watercolors, your finished paintings. All right, hey, we're back again. We're getting started. You saw the finished painting we did of the figures, the wonderful figures we did here just for fun. We're going to do some loose figure work in watercolor. This way you can take figures, put them into your watercolors, feel confident. You've tried them a few times, you've painted them a few times, you've tried to sketch them out, get some ideas down, and we're going to cover that now. So let's get started. We're going to do just some simple pencil sketches first, then we'll do the painting portion over the top of our pencil sketches. So this is just some rough watercolor paper, Fabriano, rough extra white paper. And you can use any type of watercolor paper here. Student grade paper, professional paper, Arches, Fabriano, Buckingford. You can pick your favorite watercolor paper you like to use. You can use sketchbook paper. Sometimes you can buy those really nice hardbound sketchbooks. You can buy the spiral bound sketchbooks. I like to buy the spiral bound sketchbooks by Canson, C-A-N-S-O-N. Cansons make really nice watercolor sketchbooks. So you can just do some sketch work and some compositions in some sketchbook type format. This way you can save that, have it as like a guide. When you go back, you can look at your paintings, your compositions, some of your practice work. So here we're just doing some practice work. We're going to practice some figures. Let's get started. Again, these are the types of figures you can put into watercolor paintings. You can make these figures that we're going to do now very small, or you can make them large in your paintings. It's up to you. So it's just a matter of scaling them according to your painting. If you want some figures in the distance in your painting, you just make them smaller. And if you want to make them more of a prominent part of your painting, you make them larger. That's really the real basics of it. Nothing too complex. So let's start off. We'll make maybe a male figure, a man maybe with a cap on, maybe a nice brown suit on, and a little tie. Let's try it out. Okay, so let's start out with I like to start out with a border so that I have a clear border of where I'm working. So here we'll just do a border like that. That's our border for our paper. Now, this is just a little tidbit of information as an artist. You're going to find that when you're painting and drawing in watercolor, a lot of times things can shape up where you wind up having a large rectangle like this, and then a small amount of information like this for a drawing and a painting, let's say. So let's say we were drawing some figures here. So if we were drawing some figures like this, it would be much more exciting and interesting if we make our figures larger within this rectangle. Unless you're making these figures in a distant portion of your painting. So you could take these, this size figures if you're making a larger painting where you're doing maybe a street scene like this, and you want some people standing by, let's say have some street signs here. There might be some people standing by the buildings here. If you're doing let's say a street scene, that's fine. But if you're doing a composition, like we're doing now, we're going to want to make these figures a lot larger. So we're going to want to make them like this. So if we're just doing a loose idea of we want to make them large within our rectangle here. So let's make sure we do that. Let's make our figures large here in our composition. We're practicing. Okay, let's start out. I'm going to start out with a cap. Okay, we have a cap. And we're going to do a nice suit here. And we got some the belt area, the waistline here. And we're going to do and some shoes here at the bottom. And that's all. Very simple, as you can see. Then let's do another figure next to this. It's always nice to have like a figure next to another figure. It kind of makes it look more, it feels less cut out and pasted down when you have a figure next to another. So let's have another figure here. We'll have a woman here, and she's gonna be here. And if you need to erase, you can just see that I'm doing a very loose drawing here. I'm just getting the flow of things here. There's the dress. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Have fun with this. That's the main thing. Have fun with this. Get a rhythm to your drawing. You know, I'm doing like a rhythm, the shoulders down through the hips, the midsection, and then the hips over here, and then the flow of the dress. So get some good rhythm and flow to your drawings. You'll have much better time doing that. And then we just have some very suggestive eyes and nose, mouth, just a little touch of that. And I think this looks really good. And let's do a little more detail. Let's do a tie. That looks good too. A nice tie details things a little bit. And I think we are set. Maybe I'll do a little change here. Let's do this. Maybe he has a bag here. This might be a briefcase, or and that's fine. And I think you're going to see that this is really and you're going to have a fun time with this. No real stress with this at all. You're just having fun. Very loose feeling. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see this is not perfect. You can erase a little bit maybe, but you can see my sketching is very loose. And always remember, when you're drawing, contour drawing and sketching, it always looks better once you're painting over top. You'll always find that your sketching, your pencil drawings are going to look a little off. Don't worry about it. No matter how perfect you think, I mean, there's been times where I just pencil draw things and I think that it doesn't look good, but once I get painting on it, it looks just much better. So don't worry about your pencil drawing too much. Get down what you feel is the general idea of your drawing, your figures. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't get stressed over it. Don't keep sketching and erasing and sketching and erasing and sketching. Don't do that. Just get it down. If you have to, you can do your fundamentals maybe, like when you start out and you just know your figure, your head, and then your body and your legs. So you just kind of maybe get that idea first, and you kind of just sketch that out before you start drawing this drawing. Kind of get a feel, the The body's, upper portion of the body's about half. The legs are about halfway. And the head on top. So if you get that basic, little bit of foundational, like, sometimes people might draw a head, and then they draw a body, and then they draw small legs like this. That could be a problem. Or someone might draw a body like this, and then legs really long like this. That also can be an issue. But if you kind of remember halfway, and then the head on top, you're pretty good. So you can go half upper body, half lower body, and then the head on top. You kind of have the basic idea of it. There's also tons of books out there, tons of videos you can research. I'll go into more detail too on drawing the figure in the future. So I always say, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to go into further detail on figure drawing, portraits, so forth. But, here we're just doing some loose figure drawings. Let's have fun with it. Just recall, approximate dimensions of things. Lower body halfway, upper body halfway, and then a head on top, and you're pretty much set. All right, so let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll start painting this and have a great time at it. All right, we are back. Everyone ready? Let's get started. We're going to do some painting here. Before we get going, I always want to mention, hey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We have a great channel here. We do watercolors, everything, watercolors, seascapes, landscapes, figure painting. We do street scenes, flowers. We do it all here. So it's everything watercolor here at my channel, Chris Petrie. On YouTube, all you have to remember is if you hit that notification bell, which is right down below here to the right of the screen, you'll see a red subscribe button. If you hit that button, as well as the notification bell, little bell sign, and then you just click on all notifications. This way, whenever my video comes out, you'll be alerted right away. You can check it out, check out the first, minute or two. You'll always see my finished painting right at the start of the video, so you'll kind of see what we're working on. If you love it, you like it, boom, you start out, you watch the video, and you work along with us. If you don't like the video, no problem. Next week or the week after, we might be doing something more your speed that you like to do, something else, some other, you might like landscapes and you really don't like figure painting. Well, that's fine. We're going to do that. So maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll do landscapes. So we're always changing every week so that everyone gets a chance to do the paintings they like to do. So here, this week, we're doing some gorgeous, beautiful figure painting. These are figures that you can put into your paintings. You can make them real small and diminish them, make them really small in your painting in the far distance, or if you want to make them a more prominent part of your painting, you can put these type of figures in the front of your paintings in the foreground, whatever type of painting you might be doing, whether it's a seascape, a landscape, street scene, what have you. So let's get started. Let's do some painting. And again, I appreciate everyone that is coming along and subscribing and painting along with us here and drawing and painting. We're having a fun time each week. We change up our process every week, but the thing is we always do the same techniques, the same methods, ongoing every week here at my channel. So if you're watching every week, painting along with us, following along, you'll get the basic fundamental information you need to do watercolor painting, drawing and painting, and you'll become a much better watercolor artist if you're constantly following this channel, because you're going to be doing the same methods, the same techniques. So I don't change my methods and my techniques. I use the same all the time, and that's going to be for your benefit. You'll do the same thing over and over and over, and then again, we always know repetition is the mother of skill. So if you're repeating something over and over and over, you will eventually master that. So the repetition is the mother of skill. You'll have skill when you repeat things over and over and over. So let's keep going here. Let's start out. We're going to do a brown suit, a nice beautiful brown suit here. Let's get some brown, and let's not keep it just one color. Let's go brown. Let's make some burnt sienna in there too. Burnt umber for brown. Burnt sienna, a little of that reddish brown. Raw umber, a little raw umber in there too. Maybe a little bit of touch of cerulean blue, just to have some warm and cool. Always we want to paint with warm and cool, so we don't get looking too one-dimensional. Okay, so let's start out. I'm using a number 6 Raphael brush. I think a number 6 is a perfect brush to do this entire painting, just one brush. Watercolor brush, it's a sable. And you can kind of see I'm just placing the paint. I'm changing things around a little bit so you can see I don't Let's go with some French ultramarine blue. Let's sort of separate that. French ultramarine blue down here, the darkest dark, French ultramarine blue and burnt umber, so we can get a nice dark. And that's the briefcase. So we have a nice briefcase. This gentleman's maybe coming from work and he has his briefcase with him. And then we'll go back and we'll get some more of that burnt umber, burnt sienna. We'll do his pants, and you can see very, very simple color scheme here. We'll do some shadowing too. We'll say that the light, let's always remember, let's always get our light source worked out right from the beginning. So we'll just pretend we make a little light insignia. Light's coming from this direction. And then that sets our light pattern and shadow patterns. Okay, there we have it. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue. Let's make that nice dark for some shoes. Cobalt blue, purple, a little shadowing. So you can see I did some shadowing here with some purple and cobalt blue. Let's continue. Burnt umber, burnt sienna. We're going to use those same colors. Have no fear. We're using the same colors, and there's very, we're using a very limited palette here. Burnt umber, burnt sienna for the suit. Now, let's introduce some alizarin crimson. Ultramarine violet, which is purple, for the woman's dress here. We're going to have, and we're going to amalgamate those two together. We're going to fuse the two figures together. You don't have to worry about being fancy about that. or critical about that area or fussing over it, you're just going to blend the two colors together, just like that. No one's going to be really focused on that area. And then we'll start working into the female figure here with her dress. She has a beautiful dress on here. And we'll put a little bit of the same colors as the suit mixed in with the alizarin crimson and purple, which is ultramarine violet, just so we have a little bit of a tie-in, a little bit of a, we're harmonizing colors. We don't want to now, since we're doing a beautiful dress, let's splash. We're going to do some splashing technique to get some, maybe some flowery type so we're just going to do some shadowing under here by the waist. There we go. Some more splashing. Purple, ultramarine violet. That's Winsor & Newton ultramarine violet I use all the time. Same purple I use all the time is ultramarine violet by Winsor & Newton. I find that to be the best violet color that I've found with watercolors paints. And then we're going to do that shadowy color over on this side here. And then some flesh colors. Let's use the burnt sienna and for the flesh colors here for the hands. And then we'll use our burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue for the darks. Let's do that for the hair. And there you can see we're having a fun time doing this, no stress. Some shadowing, some light, you can see the light. And again, some splashing for the feeling of some flowery type textures. And again, we use some burnt sienna, burnt umber for the legs, the bottom of the legs and by the dress here. And then some more, you can see I'm splashing on some more intense colors. Let's use those intense colors, purples and the purple, ultramarine violet. just some random colors splashed on, and here out in the light on this side you're going to see more of the white paper, and then over here you're going to see more shadows. Alright, so we're going to take a break just about now. You know, we've been working quite a bit. We will put in some more shadows. We're going to finish up the male figure here, but you can kind of see we have a really pleasant looking two figures here together, and we'll finish up. We'll get the rest of the tie, the shirt, the hat, the face of the male figure. Our female figure is almost done. We'll maybe do a little more work to the face here, maybe some lips and eyes. We'll do a little shadowing. But I really think this is fun. You'll get a great idea of just adding in some figures to your paintings, and no stress, no worries. We'll cover it all right here. If you come back in just a few seconds, we're going to finish up. We'll definitely get into the details of shadowing. We're going to do some more shadowing here. We haven't done our shadows to a great degree, so we're going to do that a little more, some more shadowing. We'll finish up this male figure here as well, and we'll finish up the final details here, really. There's always things we can do to make it look better. Some mystery to this here, you know, it might be a bag, might be a coat, who knows. But let's come back in just a few minutes. We'll start working out the last bits of our painting here, and we'll have a fun time at it. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, we are back, and we are going to finish up our painting here. We already have quite a bit done here, you can see. So we're having an enjoyable time here. We're doing figures. These are the type of figures you can put into your paintings, your watercolor paintings. You can shrink them down, minimize them to make them smaller in the distance, or you can enlarge them and you can make them in the foreground of your painting. Doesn't matter, it's up to you. But once you practice this a number of times, maybe let's say 5, 6, 7, maybe try this exercise 3 or 4 times, however many times you need, to kind of get the overall feel of doing a couple figures together, joined together. They look really good when you do a couple figures together, sort of, you know, conjoined together. Makes it feel more close and interesting if you less cut out and pasted on the paper. So if you can attach your figures together when you're doing watercolor paintings, especially with watercolors, if you attach some figures together here and there as you're painting them, it looks so much better. I've seen many professional artists over and over and over. As I look at books, I look at DVDs, I look at YouTube videos, and I watch, and I say a lot of great watercolor artists, the top pros, they tend to join their figures together a lot of times. If they're going to put them into their paintings, they tend to group them together and join them together at the shoulders and at the midsection areas of their figures. So just something to keep in mind. I'm just telling you my experience of what I see out there. Hope you'll not take offense of that. So let's continue on here. Let's go with a cobalt blue shirt for our male figure here. Okay, so we're going to do a cobalt blue shirt here. And then maybe cerulean blue on the left side. Maybe there's some light over here that's sort of, maybe there's some light over here that's catching this side of the shirt. Makes it look lighter. This is more in shadow. Like that. Looks fine. Maybe a little bit of warm and cool. Add a little bit of the burnt sienna, burnt umber to the shirt. Blend it in a little bit. And we can put a little shadow under the tie here, like that. Looks good. And then a little more flesh tone on the face there. Maybe he'll have a matching hat, burnt umber, burnt sienna. A little bit of cerulean blue just to and then we'll just make sure we lighten that up a little bit on the top there of the hat. Once that the face dries, we'll add a little shadowing underneath the nose and the eyes. And French ultramarine blue. Burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue. Just a little bit of dark here by the shoes. And maybe we'll take some cerulean blue and just go around the dress here. And what that does is that just sort of that accentuates this light here. And some more blue here, just do some splashing. Have fun with your watercolors, definitely splash around occasionally, get some splashes on there to give it some interesting textural ideas. And I think this is really looking good so far. So let's do a little more shadowing over here. We'll take some French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, and let's make a little shadow here. That's by the suit. The light's coming from this direction, so there's going to be a little bit of a shadow here, just like that. So we want to capture that. Blend that in. Just a little bit is fine. A little bit here. I'm just going to put a little shadowing under the nose. A little shadowing on the left side of the faces just to accentuate the light. Yeah, maybe we'll do an interesting tie. Let's do a little stripes here. There we go. We'll add some stripes to that tie. Splash a little bit of water on there maybe. little bit of cerulean blue over here, just to tie it in to the rest of the painting. And again, some more splashing, have some fun with this. It's a composition. You're going to try this 4 or 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, you know. That's why you're going to splash and have a good time at it. You're going to practice this a few times. This is not a finished painting, really, but this is just a practice run at some of the figures you may eventually put into your watercolor paintings, your seascapes, your landscapes, street scenes, what have you. So you're not going to worry too much. You're going to have fun with it. And again, repetition is the mother of skill. So the more you repeat this painting, the better you'll get at it. And the more you'll have a fun time and a successful time at it when you're going to put it into your finished painting. Okay, and some burnt umber and alizarin crimson with a touch of blue, purpley kind of color. And a little bit of shadowing, darker shadowing under here, under the hat. And again, have fun with this. And you can see I added that blue to accentuate the light, maybe a little more up here. Kind of looks interesting. Some areas of light. And I just add some splashing to practice, really, and to just add some interesting effects to the painting. Okay, we are pretty much completed. A lot of fun we had here, just doing some simple loose figures. A man and a woman together, they're walking. They have maybe it's a street scene. The man is maybe coming from work, and he's got his briefcase with him, and he might it's maybe his wife or his girlfriend or his sister or his mom, and they're just together walking. We fused the two figures together to make it look more pleasing, less cut out and pasted. Sometimes when you paint one figure by itself, it tends to look a little cut out and pasted. You take two figures and you fuse them together like so. Like that. You fuse them together. and it looks much more pleasing, has a really like a nice feel of togetherness, and less of that cut and pasted kind of look, which tends to look a little bit unpleasant. So again, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel. And we're doing great videos every week. Watercolor, everything watercolor. We do figures, we do landscapes, seascapes, boats, street scenes, everything watercolor. Come on by every week, subscribe. This way you kind of know when we're making our video, whether it's on the weekend, or usually it's on the weekends we make our videos. And you'll have a fun time with us. You practice up. Your skills will get tremendously better as a watercolor artist. So we'll see you on the next video, and for now, happy painting.